Every tyrant began as someone's student, and in the Fallout universe, nobody proves that to be more true than Edward Sallow himself. Or you probably better know him as Kaiser. Yes, Kaiser. He was raised as a follower of the Apocalypse, a group dedicated to humanitarian aid and rebuilding society through compassion. Edward should have gone on to be one of the Mojave's greatest healers, but instead he became Kaiser, a brutal conqueror. This is a story about a man who has failed all of his life's lessons, from the lessons taught by the followers who raised him and the lessons taught by the ancient Rome he tried to emulate. So without further ado, hi you guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Toni Krause. Hi. And if you're not new here, my name is still Toni Krause, and welcome back. Before I cue the intro, quick channel update. You might see some videos that you may have seen before, or at least the topics before, but I'm going to be re-releasing them with better editing quality. So a lot of my videos have been privated for that reason. So if you see a video that I've touched on before, just show me some love. Y'all deserve better, so I'm gonna start putting out better. Plus, now I know how to do better. All right, cue the intro. So we have the followers of the Apocalypse, an offshoot of vault dwellers, locals, and tribals who decided that they need to come together and show the world that we need more educators and doctors instead of warriors and slavers. They believed that they could rebuild society through humanitarian aid and education. Edward was a prodigy of the followers. He spoke multiple languages, he had the gift of gab, he loved reading, he loved learning, he believed that learning could heal the world. But then he went on an expedition that changed his entire worldview. The followers sent him east, well beyond NCR territory. They wanted him to go study tribal societies. He stumbled across a library and he learned about ancient Rome, one of history's most complex empires. He learned about their divine order and their structure, and like so many people before him, he mistook that knowledge for destiny. As the story goes, he was captured by a tribe called the Blackfoot, and it was at that time that he used the knowledge about the ancient Roman Empire as his weapon, and he reformed his captors into being his legionary soldiers. He taught them warcraft and structure, and in return they crowned him Kaiser. And it was at that moment that he stopped studying Rome and he started performing it. Kaiser in the Caesar's Legion is what happens when fragments of history survives an apocalypse and then somebody comes along and misinterprets them, especially through the lens of war. We saw this with the Master as well, where he stumbled across Mariposa Base. He mistook that knowledge for destiny as well. But with Kaiser, he kept Rome's surface, so the Latin, the ranks, the slavery, but he didn't keep none of Rome's soul. Now look, I know what you're saying. Oh, Toni, this is Assassin's Creed and it's not in the right time frame. I don't have a way to get copyright-free footage of ancient Rome, you guys. Rome is gonna be Rome. So just work with me here. Now, Rome was a complex machine built on politics, law, and culture. Now compare that to the Legion. They're just a war engine, stripped of civility, art, and science. The real ancient Rome built aqueducts and roads and even have cement that we still don't know how to replicate to this day. Kaiser's Rome is built on crosses, okay? In ancient Rome, sure, women couldn't vote, but they could wield power and influence through their family and religion. They could own property and manage businesses, but in the Legion, women are just flat out slaves. Kaiser worships Rome's might, but not its mind. He's not restoring civilization, he's really just reenacting cruelty. Despite all of the lessons about the civic governance and the philosophy and the art, he seemed to only retain the knowledge about brutality. Even at its most violent, Rome absorbed what it conquered. So Greek gods became Roman ones. Local customs could become provincial law. One Roman province could be brutalized one year and then granted full-on Roman citizenship the next. Rome expanded by inclusion. However, the Legion, they expand through annihilation. Any settlement or tribe that they conquer does not become a citizen. They become their slaves or their warriors. The Legion doesn't innovate or mingle. They don't build cities. They don't grow crops. The Legion only survives by consuming others. The Legion's ideology is one of rejection of innovation, any forward thinking. They are a society that refuses to learn and refuses to assimilate in any sort of way. Rome lasted for centuries, whereas Caesar's Legion might not survive past its first leader. Put a pin in that though. Caesar's Legion, and it's very beautiful. It brought a tear to my eye, but it causes people to unite. Caesar's Legion causes the Mojave to unite against him. So whether you were going along with the NCR or the House, it doesn't matter. When you go to Hoover Dam and the battle is taking place, Caesar's Legion is by themselves. Meanwhile, they're fighting a unified Mojave, from the bombers to the Great Khans, the Strip, the NCR, and so many others. They're all showing up to fight one faction. Even the Brotherhood of Steel and the NCR manages to put their differences aside so they can handle this fool, and then they'll get back to hating each other later. There are no friendly encounters for the Legion. Traders don't work with them, except for that one dude. Settlements don't welcome them in, and nomads avoid them. The world sees them as an enemy, and because of that, they breed resistance wherever they go. The only people that Legion seems to get along with are tribals, and even then, that's not an alliance. Tribals are just inventory for the Legion. Now, unpin that statement that I said earlier, that Caesar's Legion may not survive past its first leader. Don't get me wrong, Caesar's Legion does have a successor. The thing is, Caesar is intelligent and he has charisma. The legionaries put their faith and loyalty in Caesar. Here's what has been holding the Legion together for this long. Well, once he passes, Legate Lanius takes his place. Yes, Legate Lanius, though 10th of his own squad be killed by the other 9/10ths, Legate Lanius. He is ruthless, he is brutal, he rules with fear. Fear is a very poor substitute for faith. Even when talking to Silus at Camp McCarran, he'll tell you about the internal struggles that are going on with the Legion already. If they're already starting to have some cracks within themselves, if Caesar was to pass and that fear was to take over, empires built on fear doesn't last. They just collapse louder. Even if they were to defeat the NCR at Hoover Dam, they would inherit so much more than just the victory. They would inherit cities, civilians, industry, basically an entire population that's used to freedoms. But the Legion doesn't really have administrators. They have slavers and soldiers. They can conquer a land, sure, but they can't govern one. So when Caesar dies, whether it's by my hand or that tumor in his skull, the cracks that come with the rebellion, the famine, and the power struggles will just get wider. The Legion can't last because they're not designed to. They're just a cult built around a dying man's interpretation of a long dead empire. Caesar is a Caesar, but he's no Julius or Augustus. He's no good Caesar. Take, for instance, one of Rome's most famous Caesars, Julius. Julius was a reformer. He was ruthless, but he was a visionary. He expanded Roman citizenship. He reformed the calendar. He even stabilized Rome's economy. He was ambitious, and he was also pragmatic. He knew that a successful empire needed both executioners and engineers. Well, Caesar lacks that pragmatism. He's fueled by ideology instead of infrastructure. Caesar built a Rome based on cheap imitation and ash, while the real Rome was built on marble and law. Caesar is a man who worships Rome but refuses to evolve like it did. And for a man who comes from the followers of the apocalypse, a group who centers knowledge, compassion, and medicine, seems to reject knowledge, compassion, and medicine. The followers would see him as a threat to society 100%. The real Caesars of the past understood that power meant responsibility to Rome itself. And the followers of the apocalypse felt that they had a responsibility to care for and help their fellow man by sharing the knowledge. But it seems that Caesar's loyalty is to his own mythology. And because of that, once he passes, the Legion might continue on for just a second, and then they also will crumble as well. I mean, besides, it's not like as many of them. And they wouldn't win at Hoover Dam. There ain't no way they'll win at Hoover Dam, even if we as the courier was helping them. But since there's no canon in the Fallout New Vegas, I guess we're just drawing inferences on who won at Hoover Dam, and I think it's quite safe to say Caesar's Legion did not, and they probably ended up disbanding very, very shortly after they got pushed back. They can't survive. They would have been ousted. Possibly head east, but we'll only know when the developers of Fallout New Vegas gives us a Fallout New Vegas 2, which I am going to continue to pray for. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment. Leave your thoughts. Did you learn anything new? What did you find interesting? Anything you'd like to add that I might have missed? Also, stick around, subscribe. You know, I'm not that much of a streamer anymore. I used to stream. I'm not that strong of a streamer anymore. But I am trying to be a little bit more consistent with my content. So I will be seeing you guys a lot more. And yeah, bye.
Death is a preferable alternative to communism.